A cold breeze swept across the parking lot of Crescent City high as Nathan Reeves tightened the zipper of his worn jacket. It was 6:15 a.m., and like every morning, he arrived early because he had no choice. Being a single dad meant waking before dawn, preparing breakfast, checking homework, packing lunch, and making sure the universe didn't fall apart before 8 a.m. He balanced 2 coffees in one hand and his daughter Lily's backpack in the other while the 9-year-old bounced beside him like a ray of sunshine wrapped in pink gloves. "Daddy, are you coming to the talent show next Friday?" she asked, her breath forming tiny clouds. Nathan hesitated. His boss had already warned him about taking too many hours off. Money was tight ever since the divorce, and the hospital bills from Lily's asthma weren't helping, but he forced a smile. "I'll try my best, Pumpkin. You always say that." Lily's voice dropped, but she didn't push. She knew her father worked 2 jobs, janitor at Crescent City High by morning, warehouse loader by night. And even at 9, she understood that life had given her father more than he deserved to carry. Nathan watched her walk inside, waving until she disappeared into the crowd. He exhaled heavily. Another long shift awaited him. Another day of mopping floors and pretending his life wasn't falling apart. He sometimes wondered how much longer he could keep going this way. By 7 a.m., students began pouring in, chatting, laughing, living in a world he no longer belonged to. He tried not to feel envious. After all, he reminded himself, he had Lily. She was the only good thing that ever came out of his marriage. As he wheeled his cart down the back hallway, the principal's secretary, Mrs. Green, intercepted him with her usual briskness. "Nathan, I need to speak with you. It's about the mentorship program." His stomach tightened. "I'm not a mentor. I just clean the halls." "Yes, well," she sniffed, adjusting her glasses. "We're short on volunteers, and your name came up." "Who put my name up?" She waved the question away. "Minor detail. We have a new student joining today. She needs additional support, and the school counselor insists she'll do better if someone accompanies her for the first week." Just simple things. Walking her to class, helping her with materials, making sure she settles in. Nathan crossed his arms. "Mrs. Green, with all due respect, I barely manage my shift as it is. It's temporary," she said sharply. "You'll still get your full hours. Is this optional?" A long pause. "Technically, yes," she said reluctantly, "but the district is evaluating our inclusion program. It would look very good if all departments participated." Meaning say yes or look like the bad guy. Nathan rubbed his forehead. "Who's the student?" Before she could answer, a girl appeared at the end of the hallway. She sat in a sleek black wheelchair, her hands resting still on her lap. Her head was slightly tilted, her hair falling softly over one shoulder. Her eyes, large, curious, and startlingly blue, watched everyone with a mixture of caution and faint amusement. A woman in a nurse's uniform pushed the chair gently, speaking to the girl even though the girl didn't respond. "That," Mrs. Green said quietly, "is Amelia." "Is she deaf?" the secretary confirmed. "And partially paralyzed from the waist down. She communicates through sign language, though sometimes she writes on a tablet. She also doesn't trust easily. The counselor thinks someone gentle might help. Your file says you're patient." Nathan rolled his eyes internally. Patient was a polite way of saying life hadn't given him many other options. The nurse introduced herself as Delilah. "This is Amelia. She's 17, very bright, loves poetry. She lost her hearing fully at 13. The paralysis came later after an accident. She's stronger than she looks, but groups overwhelm her. Someone familiar by her side helps a lot." Nathan swallowed. He was no expert, no teacher, no trained caretaker, just a tired man trying to survive. But when Amelia's eyes met his, something flickered in them. Maybe curiosity, maybe confusion, maybe hope. He wasn't sure. But he recognized the look of someone who felt like the world had moved on without them. He knew that feeling better than anyone. He sighed. "All right, I'll help." The nurse smiled warmly. "Thank you." And that was the beginning. The first day was awkward. Nathan didn't know sign language. Amelia didn't speak. She didn't smile either, but she watched him closely as he pushed her wheelchair down the hallways. Sometimes she tapped his hand to point toward a different direction. Sometimes she scribbled on her tablet, library, bathroom, class. Their communication was clumsy but functional. Students stared at them, whispering, some out of curiosity, others out of cruelty. Nathan wanted to yell at them, tell them to mind their business, but he kept pushing the chair silently. By noon, he felt drained, emotionally and physically. When the final bell rang, the nurse picked Amelia up. The girl gave Nathan a tiny nod of acknowledgement before leaving. It wasn't a smile, but it wasn't nothing either. The second day, she pointed to his coffee cup and raised an eyebrow. He shrugged. Long night. He said even though she couldn't hear. She scribbled, why, warehouse shift. He answered, gotta pay the bills. She stared at him for a long moment before writing something else. You're tired, he laughed softly, always. Her fingers hesitated, then wrote again. Thank you for helping. Something warm tugged inside his chest. He nodded, unsure what to say. For the first time, she offered a faint smile. Small, fragile, but real. Day by day, their interactions grew easier. Nathan started learning basic sign language from online videos during his 15-minute breaks. He practiced clumsily, his gestures stiff and awkward, but when he signed hello to her one morning, she lit up visibly. One afternoon, as he pushed her toward the courtyard for some sunlight, she pointed at his hands. Your signing is terrible, her tablet screen declared. Nathan laughed. I'm trying. She signed slowly, correcting his movement, guiding his fingers gently. His skin tingled where her touch lingered, unexpected, unfamiliar. Another day she asked about Lily. You want to meet her, he asked. Amelia nodded. So after school he brought Lily to the courtyard. The little girl approached the wheelchair timidly. Hi, she said shyly. Amelia smiled warmly and signed hello. Then, after seeing Lily's confusion, she typed, You're very cute. Lily grinned. Daddy, she's so nice. And just like that, Lily adopted Amelia instantly. She chattered endlessly, showing Amelia her glittery stickers, her drawings, her favorite pink pen. Although Amelia couldn't hear, she watched intently, smiling at all the right moments, typing small responses when she needed to. By the time the sun dipped low, Nathan noticed something surprising. Amelia looked more alive than he had ever seen her. Over the next 2 weeks, the three of them started spending more time together. Lunch breaks, after-school moments, little conversations in broken signs and scribbled messages. Nathan found himself looking forward to seeing her. He noticed the way her eyes sparkled when she laughed silently, the way she tilted her head when she pretended not to understand Lily's rambling, the way her presence made the hallways feel less heavy. He also noticed other things, how she flinched at sudden movements, how she tensed when groups passed by her, how she sometimes stared far away like she was remembering something painful. One day, after her poetry class, she typed suddenly, Do you think I'm a burden? Nathan froze. Why would you ask that? She stared at her hands, then typed slower. People help me because they have to, not because they want to. That's not true. Nathan said firmly. She looked at him skeptically. He crouched beside her so their eyes were level. I'm helping you because I want to, not because someone forced me. Her eyes softened. That evening, she refused to leave until she wrote one more message. I trust you. Nathan didn't know why, but he sat in his car afterward for a long time, staring at the steering wheel, feeling something shift inside him. Trust. Something he hadn't earned from anyone in years. As the mentorship week turned into 2, then into 4, rumors began spreading through the school. Students whispered that the janitor was spending too much time with the disabled girl. Some even suggested they were dating. Nathan was furious when he first heard it. She's 17. He snapped at a teacher. I'm 32. I'm only helping her because you all asked me to. The teacher frowned. Nathan, Amelia is 20. He blinked. What? She looks younger, but she stayed home for years after the accident. She's older than most seniors. He felt his heart thud strangely. Amelia had never told him her age. He suddenly replayed countless moments in his head. Her knowing glances, her questions, the way she smiled at him like she was seeing through him. That afternoon, he asked carefully, Why didn't you tell me you were 20? She typed quickly. You never asked, he laughed despite himself. Fair point. She typed again. Would it change anything? Nathan hesitated too long. Her expression dimmed instantly. I knew it. No, Nathan blurted. I mean, it's just surprising, because I'm disabled. He swallowed. Because I didn't think you'd see me the same way. She studied him intently. I see you more clearly than most people. Before he could respond, the nurse arrived to pick her up. Amelia held his gaze for a moment longer before turning away. That night he couldn't sleep. Days passed, and something unspoken hung between them. Soft, fragile, dangerous. Nathan told himself to stop thinking about it. He was a single dad. She was a young woman with enough pain in her life. But every time she smiled at him, every time she typed something thoughtful, every time she held his hand a second too long, he felt himself slipping. The breaking point came unexpectedly. It was a rainy Thursday. Nathan found Amelia alone in an empty classroom, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. Her tablet lay cracked on the floor, screen flickering. He rushed to her. What happened? She signed shakily, then switched to writing on a notebook. 2 girls took my tablet. They said I don't belong here. They mocked how I talk. They said no one will ever love me. Nathan felt his blood boil. Who did it? She shook her head vigorously, refusing to snitch. Instead, she wrote, Do you think anyone could love someone like me? Someone who can't speak or walk, someone broken. Nathan knelt in front of her, his throat tightening. You're not broken, he said, almost whispering. You're lying, she wrote with trembling hands. He took her hands gently. Amelia, you are the strongest person I know. Her tears fell faster. Then why do you avoid how you feel about me? The words hit him like a punch. He exhaled shakily. Because you deserve someone better than a janitor who barely pays his bills. Because I'm scared. Because I don't want to hurt you. She stared at him for a long, painful moment, then wrote slowly. I don't need someone perfect. I need someone who sees me, and you're the only one who does. He felt his vision blur. He pressed his forehead against her hands, shoulders shaking. I see you, he whispered. I see all of you. Amelia reached up, touching his cheek. The first time she initiated it, her hand trembled, but her eyes remained steady. She wrote one final sentence. I love the way you look at me. Nathan's breath caught. A sob escaped him before he could stop it. No one has said something like that to me in years. He confessed, voice cracking. She handed him the notebook again. Believe it. He didn't know how long they stayed like that, him kneeling, her touching his face, rain tapping softly against the window. All he knew was that something inside him broke open, something he had kept locked since the divorce, something that had forgotten how to feel warm. From that day on, he didn't fight it anymore. He visited her after shifts. He learned more sign language. Lily adored her. They watched movies together with subtitles. They laughed, shared secrets, healed wounds they thought were permanent. People whispered, people judged, but they chose each other anyway. One evening, months later, as sunset painted the sky gold, Amelia signed something slowly, deliberately, tears shimmering in her eyes. She placed her hand over his heart, then signed, You saved me. Nathan shook his head, pulling her gently into his arms. No, he whispered, You saved me. And as she rested her head against his chest, he realized something profound. He hadn't been tricked into helping her. He had been tricked into finding love again, a love he never expected, a love he desperately needed, a love that taught him the one truth he would carry for the rest of his life. Sometimes the broken pieces of 2 people fit together perfectly.